All right, today we're going to talk about something super relatable. That awful, frustrating feeling of being stuck. You know what I'm talking about. You know you need to do something, but you just can't. I mean, who hasn't been there, right? You've got a deadline breathing down your neck, or some task just sitting there and you feel totally paralyzed. You just can't get yourself to move. It's a feeling we all know, but here's the thing. The reason for it isn't always what you think it is. It's so easy to just chalk it up to procrastination, right? Or, a lack of willpower. But what if? What if that feeling of being stuck is actually a symptom of something deeper, a kind of mental lockdown that has absolutely nothing to do with being lazy?
Okay, so first things first, let's unpack the usual suspect. We're going to dive into the procrastination puzzle.
And the key word here is voluntary. Procrastination is when you actively choose to put something off. It's a self-regulation issue, a behavioral pattern, not a clinical disorder. You're fully aware that there are going to be negative consequences down the line, but you delay it anyway.
And what's so fascinating is that procrastination really isn't about being lazy. Not at all. It's actually a coping mechanism. It's our brain's way of avoiding negative feelings. So we put off a task to avoid the anxiety of messing it up, or the sheer boredom of a tedious job, or even just the stress of a big challenge.
And this is the classic paradox of procrastination, right? In the moment, putting that task off feels so good. You get this little hit of relief, but it doesn't last. That relief vanishes, and it's replaced by this way bigger, way more stressful wave of guilt and anxiety as that deadline gets closer and closer.
But what if it's not a choice? What happens then? Well, this is where we start to uncover a hidden, much deeper reason for that feeling of being stuck, the mental paralysis that can be a part of depression.
So unlike procrastination, depression is a clinical mood disorder. It actually changes the way your brain works, how you think, how you feel, how you function. That inability to get started, it's not a tactic to delay something. It is a core symptom of the condition itself.
Yeah, let's pop the hood for a second and see what's going on in the brain. This has nothing to do with willpower. This is about neurobiology. We're talking about imbalances in neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin that just drain your motivation. We're talking about reduced activity in your prefrontal cortex, your brain's planning center, which makes it crazy hard to even organize your thoughts. And then there's this thing called anhedonia, which is a loss of interest or pleasure. It literally strips the joy out of things you used to love. So your brain just doesn't see the point in starting.
Okay, so we've got these two very different things on the table. And this brings us to that big aha moment. How do you tell them apart? This is where it's all going to click.
So here's the key difference in a nutshell. Procrastination, that's usually about avoiding one specific task, or maybe a few, and it's a conscious choice. Depression, on the other hand, is like this pervasive involuntary shutdown that can seep into almost every part of your life, from your job all the way down to just basic self-care.
And this table really helps us crack the case. Look at volition. Someone who procrastinates makes a conscious choice to delay. With depression, there's often this desperate desire to act, but you feel like you physically can't. And the emotional state is totally different. Procrastination brings on guilt and anxiety. Depression often brings a deep numbness or hopelessness. And here's a huge one: energy. A procrastinator can usually kick it into high gear when the pressure is on. But for someone experiencing depression, that energy just isn't available. It's not there to tap into.
This quote just nails it. The key difference lies in mental paralysis rather than choice. It's not about choosing to put something off, it's about being trapped. It's a mental lockdown where the keys you need to get started just don't seem to work anymore.
So you see, figuring out the why, the root cause, is absolutely everything. Because you can't find the right tools to move forward if you don't know what you're actually dealing with.
Now, for procrastination, the solutions are all about behavior. These are strategies designed to basically outsmart that part of your brain that wants to avoid feeling bad. Things like breaking a huge task into tiny, manageable steps, or using a timer like the Pomodoro technique to build some momentum. These are really practical hacks to help you manage yourself and target the root cause of the procrastination. But when it comes to depression, those productivity hacks just aren't going to cut it. The path forward here is clinical and therapeutic. It really involves working with professionals to address what's going on with the brain's chemistry and the persistent negative thought patterns. This isn't something you can fix with a to-do list. It requires professional support to help the brain and mind heal.
And really, this is the biggest takeaway. Whether what you're experiencing is a pattern of avoidance or a symptom of something much deeper, just giving yourself the grace to understand the why, that is the most powerful first step you can possibly take. It allows you to replace all that self-blame with a clear path forward.
So I'll leave you with this. After everything we've talked about, what's just one small step you can take today? Maybe it's setting a timer for just 10 minutes, or maybe it's finally reaching out for some support. Whatever it is, that first small step, that's everything.